Hi everyone, welcome back to Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. My name is Stacy. Today I have another calendar, Dollar Tree calendar project for you. This one comes from the calendar Shine Bright in All You Do. It's one of the 2021 calendars. This one has a lot of floral prints that are bright with motivational sayings on them. I especially love these last three. We've got Fall in Love, Thankful and Blessed, and this one says, it's the most wonderful time of the year. We're going to be using this one, Fall in Love. They have one as the cover page, and then they also usually have one. Sorry, I should have it up here where you can see the pretty. Thankful and Blessed. There it is, Fall in Love. So I'm going to go ahead and tear this one out. And I'm hoping that it's going to fit on this. Oh, that's going to be really close. Okay, so I have this heart that came from the Dollar Tree at Valentine's Day, and it's strung together with ribbon on the back. And I'm thinking I can just leave the ribbon where it's at and just work on the front. It's a little bit warped in spots. I also have, this is for another project, I also have this heart that also came from the Dollar Tree, but it's just a little bit too small. We would lose, it's just too small. We would lose all of the pretty sunflowers around the edges. So what I'm going to do is take this, and I want to go ahead and use the front side so that this can stay stuck together on the back the way that it is. And so I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to cut off this hanger. And then I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to squish the heart back together just a little bit so that it fits on a little bit better. This might just be a little too big. Alright, well, I'm going to get this to the edge as much as I possibly can. And I'm going to go ahead and trace around it. And then I'm going to put a little mark and go ahead and trace across where it needs to cut. In between, then I can squish this one back up to the top, and you don't have to cut this exactly, because when you Mod Podge, then you can take and sand off the edges. Sorry, forgive me for my barking dogs. Alright. So I've got my lines on here. And the biggest thing I'm going to do is just cut across on the lines that I drew top and bottom here. And I'm hoping it'll still be readable. What I like about this one, if I mess this one up, there's a second one in the calendar that I can use to fix it. I don't want to mess it up, but face it, sometimes it happens. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off just to have this extra sunflower that I can glue over the bottom point if I need to. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that with this hole, that's where I'm centering. And once the top one's on, then the bottom will be easier and it'll kind of come together. Alright, so I'm going to set these aside for a minute and I'm going to work on the actual sign base. This has really thick glitter on it, and so I'm going to need to sand that off. I don't always start by sanding, I start by scraping to see what I can get off without making the mess that sandpaper makes. And this is scraping off pretty good. Nicely, actually. I just often keep a burner cover handy just to be my trash can on my desk for things like glitter that I'm scraping off of things. Okay. I love it when the glitter scrapes off this easily. It's nice. It doesn't make such a mess of everything. I only bought one of these signs, and I wish I had bought more. Who knew all these fabulous calendars were going to come out? These calendar pages are rather thin, so I'm only going to put Mod Podge on the wooden piece. I'm not... Usually, if you've watched my channel and you've seen me Mod Podge, you know that I usually put Mod Podge on the piece and on the picture. But because these are so thin, we're only going to go with a coat on the base of the sign. Okay, so I just need to slather that on there. And I'm not doing a super duper thick coat, but because you're not putting it onto the calendar page, it's very important that you get all the way to the edge of the sign. When you put it on both, if you miss a little spot, then chances are it's on the other spot, and so they cancel each other out. But if you're only putting it on the one piece, where you get it is where you get it. So make sure that you get it everywhere. Okay, then I have the Fall in Love, and I can kind of see the lines that I've drawn, and I can see the hole, and I'm going to center the hole, and I'm going to make sure that the calendar is on the edge, the cut edge right here, that it lines up. Okay. Now it's wanting to wrinkle, so I'm just going to spread it out as best I can. I'm going to see how about my brayer tool here. That's helping a little bit. Now I'm not going to jump right in and put the top coat on. I'm going to let it dry a little bit before I try to put another coat on it because of how thin it is. On the second piece, same thing. Lots of glue on the edges so that you make sure you get a good adherence to the wood. And now this one is going to be cut on both sides, so I'm going to have to line up the top edge and the bottom edge as well as the word. Okay, so make sure that my sign is stretched so that this piece lines up where it's going to land, and I'm going to line it up on the edge, lining up my letters and pressing it down. Now there are little pieces of the sign sticking out. I know that. We will, like right here, we will address that in a little bit. But let's get this Mod Podged on for now. Okay. I love it when you can take something left over from another holiday and use it for something else. I don't even remember what I bought this sign for, but apparently I bought it for this project. So this one doesn't have any letters to line up except for this little itty bitty white spot here is the top of this L. So that's what I'm going to go with for lining it up. Get it on the edge. A little bit of wrinkling, not a lot, just a little. Some people that have done these have really just really been upset with how wrinkly it's getting. Unless it wrinkles as it dries, I think we're going to be okay. All right. Now this bottom one, it's not going to cover all the way, unfortunately. So I'm trying to figure out what I can do. And it doesn't have anything but this leaf right here lines up with this leaf, and there's a teeny tiny bit of a leaf here that is the tip of this leaf. So I'm going to aim for that, and the point of it is not going to be covered. So I'm trying to look at what I have as far as scraps on the corner and see which one might actually fill in there nicely. And I'm kind of thinking I might want to just put another sunflower over the top. I'm just going to trim this and see how it looks. I'm not trimming it perfectly. I'm just kind of getting some of that black off of there. And I'm wondering if it would look good glued down like that. It would cover that other one. Oh, I could do it like that. That kind of looks okay. Alright, so just on this piece, I'm going to go ahead and put... Oh, I need to brayer that out again. Get those bubbles out of there. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put glue down on here, and I'm going to put that coming out like that, and then it'll get all cleaned up in the end. Alright, I'm going to let this completely dry before I try to put the Mod Podge on top. And before I put the Mod Podge on top, I will probably go ahead and trim up the edges as well. But I want this to be completely dry so that hopefully we'll get less bubbles when we put the final coat of Mod Podge over the top. Sometimes when you have a really thin piece of paper, you just need to let it dry. Be patient with it because it's going to want to wrinkle, because that's the nature of paper. When it gets wet, it wants to wrinkle. So we shall see how this turns out, and I might even have enough scraps of leaves right here that I can cover this part. Okay, let's see. Let's turn this and cut as carefully as we can right here. And then I'm just going to trim this long, skinny green leaf a little bit. And I think I could just glue this over the top and place the leaves that are already there. And then that way it covers the edge. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of Mod Podge here and go ahead and glue down. I'm letting the leaf that goes from one to the next stay uncovered, and I'm going to go ahead and stick this down. Now it's overlapping, and that'll get trimmed off, and I think we'll be good. Okay, I'll be back as soon as this has had time to dry. The Mod Podge on this is dry, and it took about an hour and a half, so long it's been sitting there. So I'm going to turn it over, and I'm just going to cut as carefully as I can along the edge. You don't have to do this step, but I'm just feeling like the thickness of the calendar page, I just want to get off as much as I can before I go on to the sandpaper step. Okay, and this way if I need to repair something, I've got some scraps that aren't all scratched up that I can use to repair if need be. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if this is going to tear when I do the sandpaper on it or if it's going to be okay. There's just been a lot of people commenting on these calendar pages and how thin they are and that they're hard to work with. So I want to give it every advantage that I can. Be careful not to cut your ribbon pieces when you're cutting this, especially if you have to go back and trim. Okay, I'm just going to push these scraps over to the side for right now, so if I need them later. Look how cute that is looking. I am not fond of this red being right up through here, so I might go back with some white paint and touch that up. I don't know. We'll see. This is just a piece of sandpaper from the packets that you can buy at the Dollar Tree. It's 100 grit. You can use 80 grit, would probably be even better. So this is going to be challenging because it's so flimsy, but you're going to take the sandpaper and drag it from the front to the back. Never from the back to the front, because that will pull the paper up off of your piece. So I'm just going to sand off the edges. You can go side to side. That works too. I don't do that too terribly much. And you're just trying to get a nice clean edge all the way around. As you're sanding this off, it's also giving you that nice little distress line. You'll get a heavier distress line if you go side to side with it. So if you want that line on there to be even heavier, then go side to side once you get your paper off. Tape is wanting to peel, so I'm going to have to repair that as well. Ended up having to, I was hoping to not have to trim any in here, but see, it works sometimes. This is that other patch I did on the other side. See how that's just peeling that off right there? This is the cleanest, best way to get a clean edge on anything you decoupage. You can also use those sanding sponges they sell at the Dollar Tree as well. It just peels off. I'm liking the distressed edge around, or the distressed look around the edge, I should say. I've got a lot of corner edges here, like this is peeled up. I'm thinking it's because this was too smooth. I probably should have hit it with a little sandpaper before I tried to Mod Podge on it, so I'm going to go ahead and rough that up now. Either that or I didn't put enough Mod Podge on it because I was so concerned about the calendar wrinkling. I'm going to give you a tip. If you do a lot of Mod Podging like I do, the best, most economical way I've seen to buy Mod Podge is in this 64-ounce tub. I get it at Michael's and I buy it when they have a 60% off coupon. Okay, it'll end up costing you around $16, I think, but for 64 ounces it costs you $10 for, I want to say it's 24 or 32 at Walmart. So anyway, you can also get discount coupons at Hobby Lobby. I haven't priced it there recently because they were closed for so long, so I got this at Michael's, and I haven't checked Hobby Lobby lately because I haven't needed it yet. Okay, so I'm going to stick these two big pieces down that we're peeling up. Stick them back down. And then I'm going to check anywhere else that might need it. And really just gloop it in there. Get it in there, get it stuck down. All those corners are vulnerable places. All right, now we Mod Podge over the top. Making sure that my strokes on each piece when I'm done go side to side or up and down, one direction or the other, because if you lay off your last strokes all in the same direction, you'll get a nicer looking finish when it dries, in my opinion anyway. Not everybody agrees with me on that, and that's okay. If you don't like to do it that way and you like brush strokes going every which way, then you do it your way. That's absolutely fine. This is where I patched and put the leaves over where the paper didn't quite meet the edge of the sign. So I'm making sure I get enough Mod Podge on there to really seal that paper in. And after this dries, I will be taking it outside and spraying it with a coat of clear matte finish Krylon spray paint, just in clear, so that it will seal the Mod Podge in and keep it from getting sticky when it goes into storage when I put my Christmas stuff out. So anytime any moisture might be around, Mod Podge can sometimes get sticky. So I like to put a sealer over the top of it. And I like to use matte finish Mod Podge. I think it hides wrinkles better than the glossy does. And I just don't like super shiny things. All right, that is looking really cute. Okay, I'm going to let this dry. I will probably let this dry overnight because it's getting late here where I'm at. Squeaking this video in after work tonight. So I might put a second coat of Mod Podge on. We'll see once this one's dry how it's looking, and I'll see if I think it needs it. See how it's sticking down and if it's soaking in or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to let it dry. I'll see you for the next step. Okay, everything is dry on this, and I am ready to do something about those red ribbons. I did not realize how badly they were going to stand out, or I would have done this before I decoupaged. Also, because the calendar pages are so thin, I can see a little bit of what was on that heart sign through the white lettering. So if you have one of these signs and you're going to do it, paint it out first. If you're going to have a black background, paint it out black, and you shouldn't see any of that coming through. I don't notice it as much now that it's completely dry as I did when it was wet. And if you didn't know it was there and you weren't looking for it, you probably wouldn't notice that you can see through them. But just to be safe, go ahead and base coat out your sign before you decoupage these calendars on, because the pages are rather thin. Now, I don't like these red ribbons, so I am just going to take a little bit of black paint and paint over it, doing my best to keep the paint off of the sign. Much better that looks on the top than on the other ones where they still are red. All right, I think that just looks nicer than it did with the red ribbon showing through. And on the back side, I'll probably paint the red ribbon that's showing on the back side as well. Actually, I can probably do that because that's not going to touch. Okay. So the black paint has kind of soaked through, which is fine. And I'm just going to hit the ribbon pieces that are exposed. This will just make it look nicer in the long run. I guess you could take the tape or the ribbon off altogether and put it together with popsicle sticks. Kind of liking that idea, actually. All right, gonna let this dry and then we'll come back, put the hanger on it, and finish it up. All right, this afternoon I am having technical difficulties with this darn camera of mine. So what I did, I threaded some jute. I poked the hole back through and threaded some jute through and made the hanger. And then I took 2 pieces of yellow grosgrain ribbon that I had in my stash and a piece of orange polka dot and a few little pieces of raffia, and I tied them into a knot, just a single knot, not double. And then I glued it on. I glued it over here on the edge, on the front side, of course, and up a little higher than, so that there would be, you could still see the words. And then I had some sunflowers that I got at the thrift store, and I just used one of the sunflower heads and glued it to the knot of the bow. Let me see if I can show you that. So sorry that that part got lost and didn't work out. Okay, so then I just kind of put some glue in there and smushed it down and got it to stick. And I think that's as far as I need to go with this cute little hanger. All right, there you have it, my Fall in Love hanger made from the Dollar Tree calendar. That is the Shine Bright in All You Do. And this was, I think, November. And I just like the play on words there. It's for fall with the sunflowers, but you also fall in love, and so that's why I chose to put it on a heart. And I just thought it was a cute little something different for fall. All right, if you like this project, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel to grow. Leave a comment in the comment section below let me know, do you have this calendar? Do you want to see more projects from this calendar? Or were you unable to get this one? And if you couldn't get this one, but you got a different one, let me know which calendars you did get so that I know which calendars to work on some projects from. I don't want to work on calendars that you were unable to get because, well, it'll inspire you, but then you won't have what you need to do with it. So anyway, also check your Dollar General for some calendars. I saw some cute ones there the other day. I didn't purchase any, but they did have a few. All right, let me know what you're thinking about this in the comment section. This has been Crafting at Whimsy Wonderland. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you next time.